We continue our story following the young and talented swordsman Tenza as he and his prisoner Nurugai find their way through this island of hell. Tenza was born in the slums. At an early age, he understood that his parents neither had the resources nor the desire to take care of him, so he took matters into his own hands. He wandered the streets, robbing people and taking anything he wanted. Except for taking people's lives, he'd done anything to survive. Because of this, people would think of him as trash, a good-for-nothing boy. He didn't mind these comments because it did not matter to him. But one day, after he beat a group of men for looking down on him, he met the person that would change his life. Yamada Asemon Shion took him in and taught him how to use the sword. This fateful event has led to Tenza in his current situation. He's on the island of Shinsenkyo, a mythical place where the elixir of life is supposed to be located. He is supposed to chaperone Nurugai, a criminal, to find it. Many of them have been sent to the island, but after their encounters, Tenza knows that many of them have perished. Therefore, he vows to protect the little girl he's been charged with. After their adventure in the sea, where they encountered a monster with numerous tentacles, they decide to go around the island to see if there's an available sea current that's safe enough for passage. As they walk, a human being suddenly lands beside them. A woman with orange hair looks at them, saying that many of their soshins have been destroyed. She is referring to the giant monsters that inhabit the island. Then, to Tenza and Nurugai's surprise, the woman suddenly turns into a man. The pair tries to run away, but the man easily catches up with them. He forcefully pushes Tenza, even though his hand has not made any contact with him. In retaliation, Tenza gets up and quickly slashes the man, then he beheads him. Tenza and Nurugai run away as far as possible, but the man catches up with them again. He runs weirdly, with his cut head and limbs only connected to his body with vines. Out of nowhere, a sword flies by, completely beheading him again. To the pair's relief, Shion appears and saves them from this dangerous human. After distancing themselves, Tenza introduces Shion and Nurugai to each other. Shion is his master and he looks up to him like an older brother. Shion scolds Tenza about his fighting stance, as if they're in a classroom. Then, he tells them that after he executed the criminal Akaginu, he also tried to find a way out of the island, but he was unsuccessful. Tenza says this will be a great opportunity for the three of them to work together to escape. Shion senses that his student is protecting the girl, so he confronts Tenza about it. Shion reminds him that the Yamada clan, where they both belong, follows and lives by the rules. Tenza is risking the clan by protecting a criminal, therefore breaking the rules. Tenza defends his decision, saying that he can see Nurugai's potential in a world where she can live freely. After all, that's what Shion did to him when the former took him in and trained him to be an Asimon. He gave Tenza a chance to see his full potential. So that's what he wants to do for Nurugai. Shion considers his student's point of view. After a few minutes, he sheathes his sword and smiles at the girl. Nurugai feels shy around this master. Shion is blind, but he can run through the forest easily, and he knows from that start that she's a girl. Tenza is happy to have made this agreement, but his happiness won't last long. The mysterious man is back, except that now he's changed back into a woman. Shion carries Nurugai as he jumps away, followed by Tenza. However, the woman has managed to cut Shion's throat. Tenza attacks the woman using the same fast sword strikes he used earlier, but the woman avoids all of his attacks, saying she's used to them. Shion wants to warn his student, but it's too late. Tenza uses an all-out attack. The woman dodges it. And when she gets close, she flicks her fingers, making 4 holes in Tenza's body. Everyone who sees it knows it's almost the end for him. If it's any consolation, the woman thinks Tenza is tougher than the previous humans who've arrived here on the island. Tenza sees flashes of his past as his life slips away. He remembers the time when he was still stubborn against Shion's teachings. He didn't understand why someone would spend their time on someone like him. Shion explained that everyone was like a bud of cherry blossoms. Each bud has the potential to bloom given enough time. But young Tenza didn't like this kind of talk. He wanted to get out of the clan, so Shion gave him a challenge. If Tenza can land a hit on him, then he can go. Tenza tried it, but Shion was masterful in dodging his attacks. In the end, he decided to leave without saying goodbye. That's when Aizen found him. The Asoman asked Tenza to come with him before he escapes. They went to a cemetery and stopped by a grave. The grave belonged to Teshin, Shion's former student. Just like Tenza, Teshin was full of potential as a swordsman, but he never recognized it. He also left the clan, but he became a criminal. Eventually he was set to be executed, and the one who would behead him was Shion. Teshin's last words were an apology to his master. Since then, Shion vowed to make sure that if he would take another student under his teachings, he'd make sure that student would bloom like a cherry blossom. Tenza finally understood the feelings of his master. So he came back and continued to challenge Shion. He wouldn't give up until he landed a hit on him. Back to the present, Tenza knows he's nearing his end, so he uses his remaining energy to punch the dangerous woman. But even though her brains have been bashed out, the woman manages to put another hole in Tenza's body. Shion tries to help his student. When he looks into Tenza's eyes, he knows that helping him will be a wrong move. Instead, Shion goes back to Nurugai, carries her, and runs away as fast as possible. As Tenza looks at them, his last thoughts are about the possibilities in his life. He could have been a master, just like Shion. He could have married Nurugai when the time is right. However, there's no chance for him to see all of it as he takes his last breath. By the end of the episode, we see that Tenza managed to land a hit on Shion in the memory, but instead of running away, he pleaded with his master to continue training him. Perhaps Tenza has already reached his full potential, and now it's passed on to Nurugai. In the village of Hojo, Gabimaru and the others settle in for the night. Everything is still a puzzle to them, despite the information Hoko gave them earlier. Gabimaru and Senta volunteer to take watch for the night, but Senta is too exhausted after trying to gather more information. Knowing that his companions will be safe here, Gabimaru decides to go to Horai, the center of the island. The mist gets thicker as he walks on, but eventually he sees some crouching figures a few feet away. They're the same humanoid trees as Hoko, but they don't seem as lively as him. Gabimaru knows that they're alive. Unbeknownst to him, Mei has been following him and keeping her distance. Gabimaru continues to walk until he reaches an enormous man-made gate. He is certain that this island is no home to any gods, but rather creatures that think they are. As if on cue, he feels a strong presence behind him. Gabimaru is surprised to see another human being. This is the same one who fought Tenza earlier. The woman tells Gabimaru to go away because she's not in the mood to capture humans after her encounter with a particularly tough one. Gabimaru then asks her if they really turn humans into the elixir of life. A few moments of tense silence pass before they engage in a brutal fight. The woman is stunned that this white-haired man is much stronger than the one she fought earlier. Gabimaru uses his ninjutsu, ascetic blaze, to burn her to a crisp. He thinks that's enough, but the burnt corpse attacks him. To his surprise, Gabimaru sees the corpse regenerating and turning into a man. Another round of a vicious fight follows. Gabimaru thinks of other ways to defeat this entity. He realizes he's fighting a Tensen, one of the gods according to Hoko's story. Cutting, punching, kicking, and even burning doesn't work. But when he manages to kick the man in the gut, he knows he's done serious damage. Before he can think further about this, the man turns back into a woman. Then she weaves her hands to collect concentrated masses of energy at each fist. This is similar to what Mei did when she accidentally punched Sagiri. Then the woman's eyes become dark, before sending a ball of energy right into Gabimaru's stomach. What follows is an intense and brutal fight between the ninja and the Tensen. The Tensen's technique is definitely stronger, but Gabimaru parries them. After a few moments of barbaric exchange of fists, he defeats the woman, or so he thinks. Flowers suddenly bloom from her body until she gets fully covered. Then she transforms into a monstrous beast with 4 legs and a giant flower for a head. Instead of a flower style in the middle, it's composed of the woman's male and female alter egos. Without ado, the monster electrocutes Gabimaru. It follows the attack with slashes from its limbs before electrocuting him again. Gabimaru is about to use ascetic blaze, but his body has reached its limit. For a little while, he loses consciousness and dreams of his wife. He's grateful that he gets to talk to her even in a dream. He recognizes that he might not come back home after all. So he remembers his training as a shinobi. If facing the verge of death, he must be able to put as much damage to the enemy before dying. Gabimaru wakes up to the present and sees that he's captured by the monster's flowery limbs. He cuts one of them before setting them on fire. The monster lets him go. It's about to electrocute him again when Mei finally appears. She covers herself and Gabimaru in a protective ball of energy. Then they both fall to the cliff as lightning strikes them. When the morning comes, Sagiri is disappointed to know that her ward is not there. Hoko thinks he must have explored the woods through the mist and that may have followed Gabimaru. So he, Sagiri, Yuzuriha and Senta set out to look for their companions. Hoko tells them more about the Tensen. According to him, the Tensen are 7 hermits that have become gods and reside in Horai. He talks about them with reverence because he believes he'll be allowed in Horai if he continues to worship them. He also reveals that he used to be a human. In fact, the whole village was once a prosperous place with humans residing there. But then they started to transform into trees. Just as Hoko tells them this story, they arrive at the place where many humanoid trees are hunching and bowing as if in prayer. He says his daughter was the first one to transform. That explains why he has a soft spot for Mei. Hoko tells them that this is their final resting place, hoping to be welcomed inside the heaven in Horai. Meanwhile, the 7 Tensen are gathered inside their paradise. They talk about the advantages of being male or female based on their preference. Their leader, an intimidating man with purple hair, arrives and asks them for reports about the humans that have recently arrived on the island. He warns them to be careful, as this group of humans seems to be far different. As an example, he points at Ju Jin, the Tensen who fought with Tenza and Gabimaru. She has greatly aged due to too much use of Tao. Ju Fei, the yellow-haired man who took care of Chobe and Toma, is disappointed that a mere human has forced Ju Jin to use her Kishikai form. Whatever they are talking about will be explained in further episodes. But for now, we see them sharing and drinking a colourful liquid. When Ju Jin drinks it, she instantly returns to her youthful look. Is this the elixir of life that Gabimaru needs to obtain? Speaking of Gabimaru, he's still alive. Mei is unconscious beside him. So far, he has a good understanding of who rules the island, their capabilities, and possible plans to defeat them. Just then, Gantetsusai and Fuchi arrive and see him. Gabimaru wonders if they'll become allies or enemies in this quest. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.